Big 89 WLS. When NASCAR rolled this summer in Chicago, one of her favorite people emerged. Parker Kligerman. We hung out with him in the midst of the rains as the rains came and went. He was working his tail off, running around getting stuff for NBC as he does every Sunday in the Cup Series. Oh, and by the way, he drives in the Xfinity Series, and he made the playoffs. How about a standing ovation? Or in my case, a sitting ovation.
I'm
for
standing.
Parker.
I'm standing.
Parker, you getting goosebumps? You got a sitting ovation.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. I can't see you guys, but I'm assuming I'm just going to trust you that was the case.
Yeah, no, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, we did it.
Yeah.
And tell everybody about your team.
We are Big Machine Racing, owned by Scott Borchetta and sponsored by Big Machine Vodka Spike Light Coolers, sorry. And yeah, we're a young race team in our third year of operation, essentially. And we've made the playoffs, beating some really big organizations in Stewart Haas Racing and Junior Motorsports. And we're up against organizations like Joe Gibbs and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, we're on the up, we're on the ascent. And it's been really cool to see this young team just continue to get better and better through this whole season that I've been here.
All right, the Andes Frozen Custard 300 coming up this weekend. Do you actually get Andes if you win?
It's going to be really hot, so I could use that. That'd be wonderful. I would assume that's the case. You also get a cowboy hat when you win at Texas.
Sure.
So I've refused to ever buy a cowboy hat because I've felt like I'm going to win there one day, and that will be the sole cowboy hat I want to have, unless I win there multiple times. I have multiple.
Well, listen, you're annoyingly a good-looking dude. You annoy me because you're good-looking. And your cowboy hat, you just flip that upside down, you fill it with Andes custard. That's a win-win all the way around.
That would be wonderful. That's a great way to cool down, because I think we're going to be approaching 100 degrees down there in Texas. So it's going to be really hot. But
so if it's 100 on the track, how hot is it in the car?
Usually about 30 degrees higher. 30
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah. So it can approach a little hotter than that occasionally. I mean, that's an average, but I think occasionally we've seen temps as high as over 150 degrees in the Xfinity cars before.
I mean, it's crazy.
Can you crank the AC?
No, there's no AC.
I know.
No AC, and the windows don't go down.
Nope. But we do have a cool suit that we try to, we wear these days, which is it's a shirt that has a bunch of tubes running around it, and there's like a water solution that runs around getting chilled that can kind of cool your body. It usually, I don't have the temperatures, but it usually lowers my heart rate about 10 beats per minute on average through the whole race.
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, honestly, the race ought to be called the Ice Tray 300, and just dump a bunch of cubes in the sea. All right, so listen, the Xfinity Series playoffs are on. The Cup Series playoffs are on. Explain how you get from the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series next year and tell NBC I'm busy, I can't work.
Well, I'm signed with Big Machine for next year in the Xfinity Series. So unless they decide they want to go Cup racing, which would be a massive undertaking, we're going to go compete for an Xfinity Series championship again. And, we still have a chance to win this one. But if we, we're still in it with the playoffs, but you never know. Maybe we can go back-to-back if we can pull it off this year. So
but
the Cup Series is a big endeavor.
It's a huge endeavor. Well, so is the Xfinity, but it's a huge endeavor. But these guys bounce back and forth, and a lot of the Cup guys will take slots in the Xfinity Series and make runs. Yep. Why can't you go the other route? I mean, do you have to qualify for the other thing?
No, you just have to have a ride. So, the Cup Series is becoming really, I guess the word, full is the word, I guess, in some respects, with the 36 charters. And really at this point, you're going to see I believe you could potentially see all 36 having full-time drivers. So then you're in a position where you need to be in a part-time car, which is a tough deal financially for most owners. And so, yeah, it's tough to break into the Cup Series right now. It's high, it's one of the most competitive forms of motorsports, if not the most competitive form of motorsports in the world, and series. And, it's top two in the world in terms of every other metric. And so it's a tough place to get. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm focused on Xfinity, right? I want to go win at this level. We've done everything but win this year. We've continually made this team better. We've gotten faster. We've got everything going in the right direction. And, we have an opportunity to go win a championship, and that's a big deal.
It's a really big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Top 5 in the world. So it's a big deal to be a part of this race team, in its young formative years, getting better and seeing that growth and seeing what's working behind the scenes and that sort of thing. And so it's just really fulfilling, right? And I want to go get our ultimate goal, which is winning.
Ultimate goal is winning. And as you prepare for this weekend, last week in Bristol, you walked up to a whiteboard. You wrote lock in and execute underneath the goals section for you and the team. Is that still the same model as you move into the Texas Motor Speedway this weekend and that track?
Yeah, no, it's great. And, that's funny you pointed that out. That's something our truck driver, Jackson, has instilled in our race team about, 5 months ago. He started writing goals each weekend on the whiteboard to remind everyone. And so I bought into it. A lot of us have. I love that. And the lock in and execute came from Daytona about a month ago, where we came in there in a really precarious position points-wise in the playoffs. And I felt like okay, there's only one way to approach this race, and that is to lock in and execute at a high level and treat it like it's do or die, right? Treat it like this is either the end-all, be-all of our season. And we were able to be really successful and challenge for the win there. And I just decided, you know what, we need to take that same mentality week in and week out,
sure.
And especially into the playoffs. And so far, unfortunately last week, we had a mechanical issue, but we were doing all the right things, and we had a car that was fast enough to go challenge for the win. And, that to me is part of that mentality of just when you're at the racetrack, you lock in and you make it happen.
You're there to win. Yeah.
So Parker, let's talk about let's talk about Texas. Why do you have to favor turns 1 and 2?
So Texas is a unique racetrack in that it's so vastly different in terms of one side versus the other. So turns 1 and 2 is flat, like a vast sea of asphalt. It's really an interesting corner that we have not really encountered, I think, in NASCAR, in any sort of track or oval this size. And it's just a unique design. And then you get to turn 3 and 4, which is high banked, super high speed, and you have a situation where it's where you have to make compromises, right? You have to make the car turn down in turns 1 and 2, which it doesn't want to do. And then because of that, when you get to turn 3 and 4, you're basically hanging on for dear life. So because the car is going to be really unsettled and out of the racetrack in that high speed section. So it's a balancing act. It's one where you have to mentally sort of tell yourself you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And, that's the only way to really be fast there.
Before we let you run and go get it this weekend, your owner, Scott Borchetta, had a horrible crash himself earlier this spring and made a remarkable comeback to be at the track. What do you want to say about him?
Yeah, he's awesome, man. And if you knew him like I would, you wouldn't be surprised the recovery he's made, but we're just so grateful and, to see the speed at which he's been able to recover from that incident. And, we had him at the track at Kansas when we made the playoffs in that dramatic regular season finale, and that was so cool to have him there. And he's now come to Bristol, and he's able to come to more races, and it just gets the whole team so enthusiastic about this to have have him there and have his input. He's a racer that's been successful as a driver and successful as a supporter as well, and now we're trying to be successful as a team owner. And for all that he's accomplished in the world, it just means the world to have his support and to have him at the racetrack, which is so cool considering what he went through earlier this year. But yeah, we're just very grateful. And he's our lucky charm at the track, we decided. So he's got to keep coming every week.
Pull from Parker this weekend. Parker Kligerman. Jane, it's the same old story. You've heard it a million times before. A kid from the hub of auto racing, NASCAR, Connecticut. A kid from Connecticut rises up to a point to not just make the Xfinity playoffs, but make a run for the whole deal here. And we're proud of you, Parker. Yes, you're annoyingly handsome. There's nothing I can do about that. But keep up the great work on NBC as well, and go win this weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for having me on. It's great hearing from you, buddy. I've enjoyed our chat each and every time. I look forward to the next one.
We'll do it again. Texas, big machine racing. The Andes Frozen Custard 300 and the Cup Series on Sunday. Okay.
It's going to be exciting.
Yep, good times.
Go
We're your
Parker.
NASCAR station.